So this is my Q&A. Number 1. Why do you think that it is necessary to have an executive vice president? What purpose does his role serve in relation to APSA's mission statement? So I think executive vice president is really crucial to have because it's the official liaison between the GBMers and board members. And the executive vice president basically has to be the example for the board members as well as GBMers to look up to in order to how to behave and how to represent APSA. Because our mission statement is basically about uniting and informing about the AAPI community, coordinating FTS, which is one of the duties that executive vice president has to do. It serves the purpose of that because it is an event showcasing the AAPI culture. So number 2 is, what are 2 personality traits that an executive vice president should possess? Explain why these 2 traits are important to the role. So I think one characteristic that an executive vice president should have is being responsible. So for me, having responsibility is basically taking initiative. Everyone on board should already be a leader, but an executive vice president has to be someone who can take responsibility for the executive branch and make sure everything's running smoothly. Some board members might not have that kind of skill to just leap and take initiative yet. So the executive vice president would lead the new board members and be the example that they can also look up to. Another characteristic that I think executive vice president should have is communication, being having good communication skills, because without communication between the board members and the GBMers, there wouldn't be APSA. Maintaining communications between the executive branch will make sure that APSA is running properly, and maintaining communications with GBMers will allow them to be more active in APSA by being more aware about APSA events. And this could be done by E². Number 3. It is your duty as EVP to oversee the executive branch and extended executive board. This requires a high level of respect and the ability to take disciplinary actions when necessary. In the case that the members of these branches do not take you seriously and are not following their deadlines, what would you do and how can you establish your credibility as EVP? So, to establish my credibility, I would remind them their reasons of why they joined APSA in the first place and why they even wanted to be on board. If they truly want what's best for APSA and for APSA to build a stronger community, they would not slack off. Making them look back to their reason behind why they love this community so much and let them know that the past boards before them and even before that, including mine, we tried our hardest to maintain and better the APSA community. So just remind them how what we're doing isn't for us, it's for the community, it's for APSA. And always offer help if they need, because I've also been in their shoes. Number 4, as EVP, you're required to work in close proximity with the president. What would you do in case that you and the president are unable to agree on a vital decision regarding the executive board? So I would think about how this decision would impact the executive board as well as APSA as a whole, because in the end, we all want what's best for APSA, and we should bring it to the executive board, in my opinion, if me and the president, if I got the executive position, the president couldn't decide on a vital decision that regards them, I think it's fair that they should be informed about this decision. Because we are all on a level playing field as well. And if there's a decision that would affect APSA greatly, it would be important to discuss it with other board members as well to get a lot more perspective of it. And the last question is, how would you measure a successful FTS and E²? So for me, I think a successful FTS means that people who went to FTS and leaves after FTS will have a more insight about the API culture and talent. Even though this can't really be measured, seeing how the auxiliary members showing dedication toward their auxiliaries and FTS on the day of is going smoothly with no major problems, I feel like it's already a successful FTS. I think FTS isn't really about getting as many people as you can to the event, but it's more about just showcasing what APEC culture have and what we have in general. So if we could showcase that in general, I think that's already successful. And the second part is for E squared. So for me, I think we could tell if E squared was successful if the members in E squared showed like major improvement on their leadership skills, as well as being very active in APSA and maybe even showing interest to be a board member. Because I feel like when it gets to that point, E squared has fulfilled its full potential of the expectation of APSA. Thank you.